today because I think there are few people. Do you know you're a viral star on all social media platforms? आपको पता है?
I'm not in any of the social medias.
सब stars ऐसे ही बोलते हैं. But anyway, let's start off formally. As India charts its course towards becoming a Viksit country, Viksit Bharat by 2047, one of the most critical aspects of this transformation is the creation of new wealth opportunities for its citizens. As Indian markets continue to evolve, new sectors are emerging, the investment landscape is changing, and the opportunities for wealth creation are vast, and the average Indian investor is at the center of it. Just to give you a sense of the rise in India's retail investors, in 2024, the number of demat accounts rose by 46 million, marking an average addition of 3.8 million accounts per month. When you compare this number from 5 years ago, in 2019, demat accounts have more than quadrupled from 39.3 million. SIPs, which have consistently been the backbone of retail participation in mutual funds, have also witnessed increased transactions. According to the Economic Survey 2025, over 10 crore SIP accounts have been created, with cumulative inflows reaching 10.9 lakh crore rupees since inception. So the question right now is, how does investment in stock markets really fit in with our concept of Viksit Bharat? The fact is that it does. Let me start with this, and please welcome the legendary Mr. Raamdeo Agrawal. So, till a few years ago, investing in equity markets was limited, I think, to a small part of the population. जो करते आए हैं वो करते थे. The revolution that you've seen in the last 4 to 5 years, let's start with that, because I think that's the watermark, in a sense, when you look back at the Indian equity markets.
Yeah. See, I started my career in stock market in 1980. So I have seen 45 years of the market. And it was extremely primitive in 80s. And I was also not knowing much about the markets and started building research prowess and slowly build the company and all. But it was going on till about 2020. And somewhere in 90s, this KYC trouble came for introduction of the clients. And it became so notorious that it was taking 8-10 days to open an account. And it went on like this till 2020. By 2020, what happened was digital infrastructure was ready for the payment, for trading. Everything was ready, digital infrastructure was ready, but still KYC was physical. And in 2020, thanks to COVID, what they did, they removed the physical verification. You started getting, instead of 3 lakh customers, we started getting 3 million customers per month.
Wow.
You just said in last 12 months you did 3.8 million customers per month. And it is cumulative in character, it's not a flow. It's an accumulation. It's like a dam. So, number of customers, it's not that 3 million came and some other 3 million came next month. It is all 185, 190 million customers are participating in the market every day. In Mahakumbh, on the best of the day, maybe 50 million people will take a dip. Here, on an average day, there will be more than 50 million people who are taking dip. So this is Mahakumbh. And this is just about the start. When we go to, in 3 years' time, to 300 million, right now we are in 190. And see, there are some duplications, some 40-50% there must be duplication. Still we'll go to 300 million, and my sense is by turn of the decade, we might be at 500 million. So this is a relentless expansion of the capital market. This kind of thing happens once in a lifetime. These are life-changing things. This will change the trajectory of corporate history of India, I'm telling you. It is just about begun. And that's why you must have seen hottest IPO market in the world. You know, so there a lot of things will happen as we go along, but right now there was too much of demand. Between 2020 and 2024, there was excessive demand for the stocks. And so incidentally, FIs, they turned negative at some point of time as the valuation became a little expensive, but they have only large caps. So when they started selling large caps, the entire momentum shifted to mid and small, where there was no play. I mean, there was only one way, and the stock went through the roof. I mean, 50p, 70p, 100p, people are justifying. From 100 it went to 125. From 125 it went to 175.
No, so we'll come to the question of what's
Yeah.
happening in the markets right now. Hum us
Yeah.
par aate hain. But I want to come back to something interesting you said. When you call this bigger than a Mahakumbh, investment ka Mahakumbh.
Yes.
Let's come down to the fundamentals of it just for a second, and then फिर market P, valuations, corporate results सब बातें करेंगे. जनता equity में पैसा क्यों डाल रही है? Because this India is not satisfied with 6% in FD. This India is in a hurry. They want to create wealth. Is the stock market still the best way to do it? We are in an overheated market. FII is heading for the exit door. Is that faith? Because we talked about Mahakumbh. This is also faith. The Indian investor has faith. Is that faith well-deserved or misplaced?
देखिए आगे क्या होगा मुझे नहीं मालूम. फ्यूचर इज अनसर्टेन. दैट्स द एक्साइटमेंट ऑफ फ्यूचर ऑल्सो. मैंने 45 साल देखा बाजार का. मैंने बहुत अच्छे टाइम देखे ऑफ द इकोनॉमी एंड मार्केट बोथ. वी हैव सीन वर्स्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स and yet I mean we have seen 9/11, we have seen Bharat-Pakistan war and all, everything we have seen. But can I have some water?
Yes, yes, of course, please.
So-
Can we get some water, please?
So I would judge the future by what we have seen in the past. And we have made money at about 15% compounded at index level. People like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and all, they must have done at least 2x, so 28-30% minimum. I would have done maybe 22-25%. So if you do compounding at that rate, let me give you just what is the power of compounding. Warren Buffett started with say $10,000 or $20,000 65 years back. Today he's a trillionaire, 1 trillion and counting. That is the only company in the top 10 in the world of digital era who has made money. So the compounded, see, India and US, there are only two compounded countries where money is being made at a steady pace in both the countries. And India, I have seen 45. There is no reason for me to believe the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to be any different. I don't have any other logic. You know? So when your nominal GDP grows at about 10.5, 11%, corporate India grows at about 12, 13, 14%. And that chosen stocks, which are nifty, that grows at about 15%. And that's what you make. So at 15%, you double your money in 5 years. You go to bank, SBI, safe, you make 5%. How many years it takes to double? 15 years. The logic is very clear. Whether you want to double your money in 5 years or 15 years. And we're not talking about the entire portfolio. You put 10%, 5%, 20% depending on your risk appetite. So that revolution was not happening. That has started happening from 2020.
Yeah. Now the question really is that revolution a one-way revolution? Let's come to what is happening in the markets right now and the context of it. So yes, we have had a downtick in key indices. FIIs have been selling at record levels. We've had maybe 2 consecutive, I have to say 3 or 4 consecutive quarters of corporate results which have not been up to the mark. But the retail investor or the Indian investor has continuously shown faith. They've very famously been called the shock absorbers for the capital markets. So my question to you is, if you are speaking to these shock absorbers right now, what is your message to them? How do they make sure that they sail through this storm?
See, it's painful. I mean, when markets go down, I don't like it, nobody likes it. Whosoever is invested, they would like to see higher price. But for every unloam, you have to have vilom. You can't just keep doing up and up in the breathing also. You have to come down. So the correction and healthy correction is a very, very integral part of the market. In last 45 years, I have understood that. I also don't like the corrective phase. But it is almost like a part of the life. Reversion to mean is part of the life. So last year, in 2024, the index went up by 10%. But everybody's portfolio did anywhere between 30 to 40%, 50%, or maybe 70%. Lower the size of the stock, higher was the return. Okay? Now, in the current year, index actually will go down by 10, 12% or 15%. But the portfolio will go down by much larger amount.
So 1 minute, you think that the index in the current year could go down by 10-12% and
Already it has gone down.
Even further? Is more pain
I don't
there?
know.
We don't know. Okay.
I don't know about it. I'm just saying, I'm just making a broad this thing that in calendar 24, when the index went up by 10-12%, you have no business to make 40%. That 30% जो है ना वो मतलब क्या बोलूँ मैं? It's a stolen money. वो जाएगा आपका. क्यों जाएगा? कैसे जाएगा? मुझे नहीं मालूम. दो चार बदमाश लोग या अच्छे लोग जो हैं वो बचा लेंगे. बाकी ब्रॉडर मार्केट से निकल जाएगा वो. That's how it works. The reversion movement must like that.
क्या यही हो रहा है इस वक्त? Is that what we're seeing right now? Because I'm asking about, so a very prominent person recently talked about stopping SIPs in small and mid-cap stocks. Said that small and mid-cap stocks right now, you should exit, lock, stock and barrel. Was the exact quote. ना कोइंसिडेंस हो सकता है कि तब से त्राही त्राही मची हुई है, कोइंसिडेंस हो सकता है, लेकिन ये सवाल तो है कि ये क्या है जो बाकियों को नहीं दिख रहा है.
The very concept of SIP, systematic investment plan. So आप जो है डॉलर कॉस्ट एवरेजिंग, तो आप जब बहुत ऊंचा रहता है तब भी आप एक रुपए का खरीदते हैं, और जब बहुत नीचे रहता है तो भी आप एक रुपए का खरीदते हैं. सो दैट एवरेजिंग आउट विल मार्केट डू इट. You should not break your SIP. You should not break your SIP. In fact, longer the SIP, maybe the SIP might be required to be longer than 35-40 months. You know, if you stay a little longer, there will be deep correction. You will buy very cheap, and then again the smooth curve will happen. It's not that once the mid cap or small cap they correct, they will never come back. All the good companies they'll come back.
Understood. But is there a fundamental issue with the way small and mid-cap companies have been valued and the pace at which they have grown? Is there a fundamental concern, which is why the correction right now is what we are seeing?
But see, you just not started the SIP like yesterday.
Yeah.
Say a year back also you started. So first you had a 40% up. For the first 12 months you had 40% growth. Now you'll pay some portion of that you'll give away. And then in 25 you'll give away. In 26 again you'll start making it. So SIP is all about averages.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, so it is, you must understand the very idea of SIP. You know, it is for taking, you should not bother about where the market is.
सर सिप को एक बार छोड़ दीजिए, आप स्मॉल मिड कैप स्टॉक्स के बारे में बताइए.
हाँ, क्या बोल रहे थे?
ओवरहीटेड, ओवरवैल्यूड, जो हो रहा है वो बराबर है?
जो हो रहा है वो बराबर है. ओके, अभी और कितना होगा मेरे नहीं मालूम. See, as I told you right in the beginning that there was excessive flow. See, आप देखिए जैसे म्यूचुअल फंड फ्लो है. म्यूचुअल फ्लो, how the stack is. Your entire, say, 400 lakh crores. As of today, I think it is about 405 lakh crores or 410 lakh crores is the total market cap. Say 2 or 3 years back, the breakup was about 75 to 80% was large cap, that is top 100 companies or 150 companies, and mid cap would be about 15-16%, and 7-8%, 9% would be small cap. Now, how the flow is? See, flow should also be matching. But flow was different. Flow is like 15% is going to small cap, and 30-35% is going to mid cap. And large cap is getting again 35%. So 65% of the market cap is getting 35% flow, and 20% of the market cap is getting 35%. So what is going to happen? You're pushing too much of money in a much smaller market, and then you see the firework.
Okay. Today, if I were to ask you, sir, that we're talking about Viksit Bharat 2047. In 2047, आज अगर 2047 के लिए पोर्टफोलियो बनाना हो तो, ट्रिक क्वेश्चन, 2047 के लिए पोर्टफोलियो बनाना है, I'm giving you a long horizon. See, what does it look like?
Yeah, see, Viksit Bharat and all, they are all very ambitious political agenda. You know, I'm not saying it's bad, it's nice. To have a goal, long-term goal for a country is the best way to go.
Sir, but every investor has been also told have a long-term goal.
Next quarter नहीं मालूम आप 47 की बात कर रहे हो यार. So let's be practical, you know. I mean, आप बोल रहे हो कि भाई बाजार कितना घटेगा, कितना बढ़ेगा, ये सब अब एक क्वार्टर की बात करो, दिन की बात कर रहे हो, वीक की बात कर रहे हो, और फिर 47 की बात करते हो सीधा. तो क्या है, we should have a right perspective. See, जनरली जैसे मैं शुरू से मतलब 20, 25, 30 साल से, I try to reach a situation where I should double my money in 3 years.
Okay, तो 3 साल का बताओ, even better. How to double your money in 3 years, Mr. Raamdeo Agrawal?
No, that's how. See, but ideas तो मिलने चाहिए ना. ये मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव है. Okay.
Sir, अगर आपके पास आइडिया नहीं है तो किसके पास आइडिया है? If you don't have the idea, I really.
No, so we have ideas.
Okay. Okay, so let me put it this way. For someone watching right now, how do I pick well in this market right now? Two ways of looking at it. One is that there's a sale lagi hui hai. One way is that protect your capital and somehow duck for cover. What is the way, what is the methodology to pick the right idea right now?
देखिए, एक तो दो बात है. जब हम लोग चालू किए थे, म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री था नहीं. So we had to do actual stock picking. Mutual fund came only in this century. I mean, 2001-2 के बाद चालू हुआ आने का. So we grew up in an environment where individual stock picking was necessary to be in the market. And hence we got into this game. अब जो है, for this 190 million people, they don't have to bother about all this. They have to pick the managers. They have to pick the schemes. And they just have to go about SIP, which again takes away the market risk and all. So actually investing is very simple that way. So if you want to make, say, 15% index does, you are very ambitious and you want to do 1 or 2, 3% higher. So if you go from 15 plus 3, that makes it 18, that makes it 4 years doubler, which is a lot of money. 5-year gives you 5-year doubler, 18% gives you 4-year doubler. I think for a common man to realize that should be the biggest objective. Now, if you want to become a stock picker, then you are the manager yourself. Every individual will have a different style. My saying doesn't help. The way I do it, nobody can do it. The way anybody else can do it. They can keep writing autobiography and this is how I do it, this is my formula. वो कुछ नहीं आता उसमें. You can never practice my formula. You can come and sit with me full day. Still you can't pick up what I'll say in the evening. So, हमने QGLP फार्मूला और जितना रिसर्च है तो हम लिख के भेजते ही ना. हमको मालूम है रिसर्च का फायदा हमको ही होने वाला बस. Because it is everybody has to fend for themselves, particularly when they are picking stocks. Okay, because how to judge the quality of business? How to judge the quality of management?
Okay, what are the 1 or 2 parameters that you look at?
Pardon?
What are the 1 or 2 conditions you look at? How to judge the quality of a business?
QGLP, I have a only very simple formula. Top quality business, top quality management, long way for growth and quality, and very reasonable price. Actually, I can make it even simpler. Top quality business, top quality management, and reasonable price. The problem is to get the third one right.
Reasonable price. Yeah. Right now, are the prices reasonable after the correction that we've seen?
It is more reasonable than what it was, say, 2-3 months back.
Not on your parameter till now.
No, some stocks are clearly there. Yeah, they're clearly there.
Okay. What, according to you, is the reason that FIIs are, I think, relentlessly selling? Is it because they are seeing an issue with, say, corporate performance in India? Is it a concern with slowdown, or is there some other story going on?
No, one is that, first thing is that, see, they look at a lot more macro, in the sense that they have opportunity to go to all 150 countries. Okay. So they have, say, 2 buckets, developed and developing. So right now, America is in full employment, blasting through. Last year is 30% return, strong dollar. Who wants to go anywhere else? Okay, so that is one reason. Second is emerging market led by China. It is destroyed. That asset is destroyed. Okay, so if you want to get allocation in emerging market, India is very prominent and it can get allocation. The issue is, do we have blistering growth? What else can you ask for? My currency is weak. You know, so the only story can be a top-class corporate earnings growth. So that is not happening.
What is your assessment of corporate earnings right now? Because this is data that you look at very, very closely.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as the street is making it out to be?
It's quite bad.
Yeah?
In aggregate, it is bad. Individual companies are okay, but I mean, we started with a Nifty. The Nifty earnings estimate at the beginning of the year was about 1100 plus, actually, 1150 types. Then he started cutting it. And now we have reached to 1050. So if you keep cutting, then you don't know how long they'll keep cutting. Last year was 1000. This year we started with the expectation of 1150. Now we are at third quarter over. We are talking about 1050, 1055. Hopefully, if it pans out the way they are thinking, we'll end up about 1050, 1060. Then again next year he's saying it will be 1200, and then again they will start cutting. So still, see, then we want the earnings uptick. You know, the researchers should be surprised by the earnings. He says next year...
No, sir, researcher is surprised. After every earnings,
yeah, so they're surprised, but
it's shock.
positive or negative. So right now they're negatively surprised. So that cycle of upgradation of the earnings is yet not started. Hopefully, my sense is that Q1 24, 25, 25, 26, we should see some uptick.
Okay.
When all the three forces of fiscal, monetary, and government capex, all three should be in full swing in first quarter of 25-26.
Okay. One last question, because I know I'm over time. Your advice for the investor who maybe came in after COVID and so far has just seen their portfolio going up, and right now they're not understanding what is happening. What is Raamdeo Agrawal's advice for that investor?
You got to bring patience. You know, that's the biggest investment in investing. And if you don't have patience, then you don't belong to this game. Because ultimately, you will see wealth creation through equity markets is a long-term process. It's not a short-term process. You will make money, you'll double your money if you're very smart, you'll double your money in 4 years. Very smart, 3 years. Middle smart, 4 years. And you don't need any brains to double your money in 5 years. That's how it is.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the best case scenario. Thank you so much, Mr. Raamdeo Agrawal, for your time. Always a pleasure
Thank you.
to speak with you.